England rejoiced on that day. The Emperor gave my lord the Principality of Mindelheim with the title Prince of the Holy Roman Empire, for which honor he had to pay £4,000. But the Queen desired to reward him in a more practical manner.
As members will recollect, this House agreed unanimously to accept whatever Her Majesty desired to do on this matter. We're now informed that she proposes to convey to the Duke of Marlborough and his heirs the royal manor of Woodstock, comprising some 15,000 acres. She means to command a palace to be built there by Sir John Vanbrugh. It's to be called the Castle of Blenheim.
That the full consequences of this battle are yet to be known. In the space of 4 hours, the French army in Flanders was totally destroyed. Every fortress and city is either yielded or declared for the Allies. What we see here is no longer war, but a revolution. Everything the French got in a night by stealth at the King of Spain's death, they've lost again in a day. The general has won the goodwill of everyone by proclaiming that all supplies are to be paid for, and that looting by any soldier will be punished by death. As the Dutch troops bravely carried most of the burden of the fighting, so their States General believe that Flanders should be controlled by them. Your Majesty will know what to do. King Louis has been compelled to recall Marshal Vendôme from Lombardy, to take the command against Marlborough in the north, thus enabling Prince Eugène to relieve Turin and drive the French clean out of Italy. Truly, this one battle at Ramillies has altered the whole face of Europe.
Well, here's a very pretty pass I'm come to. Without my spectacles, I can't see how villainous I look. But with them, 'tis only too clear.
Nay, madam, if I may say so, you're in better looks than I've seen you these 5 years.
I know better, but still, I'm obliged to you.
And as for your hair, why, it grows stronger and more lustrous every day. I'm sure Thompson agrees with me. 'Tis a pleasure to dress it.
Thompson, that will do for now. Pray come back in half an hour. Abigail, I've set out the Queen's jewels to be worn tonight, so all is prepared. You may leave now until Her Majesty sends for you. Unlike some Mrs. Morley, I do not believe in flattery.
When you say that, I expect always to be scolded. If there's anything I've done to displease you.
Mrs. Morley, this is not a matter of pleasing or displeasing, but I have to speak on a question of great importance. Today we stand higher in Europe than any other nation.
Thanks to the genius of Mr. Freeman.
Well, yes. And your trust in him. But at home we are in grave danger.
I see no danger.
No. But you shall, if I have the wits to explain it. 2 years past, I advised you to take some of the moderate Whigs into your government, but...
But the Lord Treasurer agreed with me in opposing it, and so did your husband.
The case is altered. Since the election, both houses are ruled by Whigs. They now have the power to grant money or withhold it. They ask in return some small share in the government. And upon my soul, I think they have a right to claim it.
Why?
Because they were elected to represent the people.
No, that is untrue. I represent the people, all the people. The Tories as well as the Whigs, the poor that have no votes and the freeholders that have. Who is to protect them against the tyranny of any faction unless I am permitted to choose my own servants?
Truly, this is your prerogative. But unless these servants have power, they must be useless to you and the nation. Now, I beg you, face these facts.
You are so vehement. And I get confused. But do you tell me I am to appoint ministers according to the party majority and dismiss them at each election if another faction comes in? That would mean anarchy and the ruin of any continuing policy whatsoever.
The immediate future is what concerns me. So long as he wins victories and holds your favour, my husband is not vulnerable. But he depends at home on the work of the Lord Treasurer Godolphin.
Also commands my love and confidence.
Yet he becomes more helpless every day. He belongs to no party. The high Tories, and especially your good Uncle Rochester, would tear him to pieces tomorrow when they could. And as for the Whigs, well, they make it clear to him daily that unless you give them what they desire, he'll get no support from Parliament. And if that doesn't lead to anarchy and ruin, I know not what will. So, here you have a brave sight. Your servant, madam. The most honest man that ever served a queen. And he is tied hand and foot because you refuse to do what must be done.
No need, no need. I'm not in pain. Now, I think I have not yet refused what must be done, since you haven't told me what it is. They require some share in the government. What share?
They desire you to appoint a new Secretary of State in place of Sir Charles Hedges.
Am I to keep Mr. Harley as the other?
They believe you would prefer to.
And which of their number is to replace Sir Charles? Somers? Halifax?
Sunderland. Now you are not to imagine that this is my suggestion. I mean because he's married to my daughter, and hence one of my family.
If that were all, I'd have no objection. For the sake of Mr. Freeman, all members of your family are dear to me, except Lord Sunderland. It is wrong to speak ill of the dead. His father was a treacherous rogue.
But now dead, as you admit, and his son...
A free thinker. Atheist, some call him. And the most republican of all the Whigs.
An able man willing to serve you.
His temper and mine cannot ever agree. And if I accept him, where will it end? Who will they force upon me next?
This is all they ask.
Today, Sunderland, tomorrow another, and then another.
Madam,
no, I shall never consent.
Madam, I beseech you, think of it.
I shall never consent.
Madam, you shall consent. You must.
Do you again say must?
I desire only the good of your country.
Who waits upon me tonight?
My daughter, Harriet.
Pray, bid her attend me.
Madam, are you ill?
No, no. But I ache all over, especially my head and my neck.
Well, we have a remedy for that. But first, you shall have a cordial. I do wish you were not so vexed with business. In the evenings, I mean. When you have so much to trouble you every day. But there, 'tis no use to scold you. I know your thoughts are ever on your duty. Lean forward a little, I pray you, madam, and I'll rub the pain away. So. Peace. You need peace. Peace and quiet. Quiet and peace.
Oh, yes. But don't stop. I'm already much easier.
Good.
I believe you're acquainted with one of the Prince's gentlemen. Mr. Masham?
Yes, I do know the gentleman.
Huh? He has a high regard for you.
And I for him.
Does he propose marriage?
He would, I think. Only
Is there some obstacle?
Oh, not between us.
Oh, where then?
Before I marry, I must seek permission from my cousin, the Duchess. As mistress of the robes, she commands all your servants at court, and as my patroness, she'll expect to be consulted.
Have you any reason to think she may object?
I fear so. Indeed, we both fear so.
What reason?
Spite, madam. Pure spite.
Nay, Sir John, everyone knows of your new comedy at Woodstock. Do you mean to tell me you've created another?
And I had your wit, ma'am, I'd write one a day. But this is a trifle, a mere trifle for the stage. In the prologue, I paid tribute to you.
To me?
As our learned Minerva, patroness of all poor scribblers.
I thank you. Has it a name, this mere trifle?
I call it the cuckold in conceit.
Francis, here's Sir John put me in a play about cuckolds. Will you call him out?
Well, to be talked to death at 10 paces now.
Where do you intend this piece to be performed?
Harriet,
Mamma?
pray attend the Queen. She expects you presently. And mind what you say, she has the spleen.
I wonder why.
Madam, I came here tonight hoping to find you. For tomorrow, I go to Woodstock.
And so you should. The work goes too slow.
Madam, that's through no fault of mine. Mason and carpenter expect their money just like other folk, and the payments are far in arrears.
I have told you before, sir, you are not building a private residence for the Duke or for me.
Yet all my instructions come from His Grace.
Then I advise you to abide by them.
Madam,
but if you lack money, apply to the Queen through the Board of Works. I bid you good night, sir.
Toast to our entrancing hostess.
To our entrancing hostess.
Her ladyship, the little wig.
Yes. Well, gentlemen. St. John?
We've had a damn good dinner, and I, for one, am obliged to you.
Is that all you have to say?
I concur with my friend. A damn good dinner.
I am the Queen's Chief Minister. You, Harley, and you, St. John, are with me on the Cabinet Council. You will therefore agree that government must be carried on.
Assuredly, assuredly. As it is being carried on. I believe with some success.
Yes, but for how much longer?
I would say for so long as the Queen desires us to serve.
Either you gravely mistake the situation, or
what, sir?
Or you choose to ignore it. There's no base to your ministry. You're all head and no body. So far, we've supported you as patriots. As patriots, I say, sir, with the country's interests at heart. Now, all that we propose is that you recognize an obligation, that is all, by accepting Sunderland as secretary. One small measure of coalition. Do this, and all of you, especially Marlborough, will feel the strength of Parliament behind you.
I would it were possible to oblige you, but I fear Her Majesty will never consent.
Sooner or later, she must. Godolphin knows I speak the truth.
Do you, sir? Once again, my compliments to your cook. My Lord Summers, your servant. Well, Godolphin, you go with us? Wonderful dinner.
damnable waste of time.
And good wine? No, we're better without them. Patience. And leave it to the Duchess.
You sent for me, Mamma. Here I am.
Did Francis bring you?
No. I came post-chaise with my maid. Francis thinks he has better things to do, though God knows what they might be.
You see each other seldom, I believe.
Often enough to suit us both.
Yet he loves you, I think.
No, Mamma, he does not. He is capable just capable of a little mild affection. But love, no.
Does that grieve you?
Far from it. Anything more I should find extremely tedious, I do assure you.
I'm sorry and distressed if that is so. And I believe you will be too, when you're older. Without your father's loving kindness to me, my life would have been wretched indeed.
Lord, Mamma, all the world knows you and he married for love. A perilous thing to do, God knows, though you were fortunate. But my poor Francis... No matter. There are other ways of being amused.
Other ways? Do you keep a lover?
You shouldn't ask such questions, when the answers may not please you.
Damnation, do you?
No, I do not. Now, may I ask a question? Was I brought down here in such a tear only to be quizzed?
Attend carefully what I say. Your conduct in London becomes notorious. Your chief friends, Lady Oxford and the rest, are known to lead scandalous lives. The company they keep are men you should have no acquaintance with.
Who, pray?
Idle spongers that call themselves poets and wits. Men like Congreve and Gay, aye, and Vanbrugh, for all his knighthood and fine airs.
They are wits, the first in England.
Which says nothing for their morals. They're a set of dissolute rogues, and I'll not have you consort with them.
So that's why I was summoned, to hear my friends abuse...
Be silent. As a lady in waiting, you have a certain position. You owe the Queen a duty to behave discreetly. And you are to remember whose child you are. Your father, like all great men, has enemies who hope to pull him down. They watch all our family for any hint of scandal or corruption. So if you have little thought for your own repute, think of the danger to him. I say nothing of your duty to me.
You need not, since I paid it willingly all my life. But you are to remember that you were once young and enjoyed pleasure.
Innocent pleasure.
As mine is. But now your only desire is to rule others, my sisters, the Queen, even my father, if he'd allow it. Well, I tell you, madam, you shall no longer rule me.
Harriet!
There's a post-chaise at the door. Is Harriet arrived?
Arrived, yes, and gone again.
Gone? Did you say gone? What happened?
Am I such a monster that my child hates me so?
Harriet? Of course Harriet doesn't hate you. What makes you think so?
Every word she says, every look. She scorns and hates me.
True, she has a wild temper and hasn't yet learned to control it.
No, and never will. She should have been whipped more often, but you'd never permit it.
What was the quarrel?
I merely ventured. Will you remember we talked about the company she keeps and how she ought to be more discreet? I was reasonable, I spoke plain but reasonable. And all she did was to fly into a rage and abuse me shamefully.
Wrong tactics. One woman to reason with another.
Do you take her part against me?
No, my dear love, you know I do not. But she is a woman. Without your strength, and I think unhappy, still very young and out of love with her husband.
She despises him and he knows it.
And he cares not a whit. Poor Harriet.
Poor Harriet. Have you no thought for me? Am I not to be pitied?
Why should you be? Do you despise your husband?
You may cozen me out of the spleen as you always do. But Mistress Harriet should be taught her manners.
Let it rest. When she's calmed down, she'll be sorry. Do you write to the Queen?
Sidney urged me to try once more to persuade her.
To accept Sunderland?
It must be done. You know it must be done.
No.
I have worn out my health in the service of the Crown. I have served your Majesty faithfully to the best of my understanding. I ask now only one favor. Your permission to end my days in liberty and quiet.
Mr. Freeman, I have this letter, the last of many on the subject, in which dear Mrs. Freeman takes me to task for not immediately concurring with these proposals. If my Lord Treasurer is determined to resign, what shall you do?
Do, madam? What can I do? If my Lord Treasurer resigns, the government falls, and I with it. You may judge how that will affect your policy abroad and the conduct of the war. I myself am heartily sick of the very names Whig and Tory. But by accepting Sunderland, you accept merely one Whig, no more. And if you disoblige that party, where will you get the £5 million you need this year? I wish it was in my power to alter the situation and make you easy. You must be convinced that it is not.
Very well. If my Lord Sunderland is waiting, as I'm sure he is, pray bring him in.
And when the audience was over, she came back and went straight to bed. She wept a great deal.
Did she say anything?
Only the same thing over and over again. You know her way.
And what was that?
Where am I to turn? Where am I to turn? Over and over.
And that was all?
Yes.
As ever, I'm deeply obliged. When next you see her alone, make her understand that Mr. St. John and I are of the same mind as herself. We too were forced to accept Sunderland, but unlike Lord Godolphin, we believe this to be only a temporary setback. Moderation will prevail.
In short, Mistress Hill, or is it now Masham?
Not yet. But soon, I believe.
Good, good.
In short, give the poor lady comfort, as we know you can. But above all, give her hope.
Each year, as spring comes, I find it harder to face another campaign. Sarah, I believe I grow old.
Do you? Then you shall retire. A quiet stroll in the morning, a sleep after dinner, then your bottle and a game of cards with your neighbour the squire and his red-faced dame. Is that your ambition?
Today it is.
Good God, you'd run stark mad in a week.
And drive my neighbour into an apoplexy. Well, maybe it is only the parting from you I find harder to bear. Come with me as far as Harwich.
What? If you'll take me, I'll come to Flanders. But, Lord, I'm not dressed, and we leave, did you say, at 9? Now, let me call Peters.
Nay, I'll be your tiring woman. Not for the first time.
Now, why in the world couldn't you ask me before now?
I thought you'd be too much engaged.
You thought. In future, don't think. Just give me time to get into my clothes. Now, can you tie these strings? There.
Too tight?
Nay. I forgot something. Do you remember old Danvers?
Danvers?
You do. She nursed the Queen as a baby, pensioned long since, but still comes about the court. A dragon with all the maids.
I know.
Now, a strange thing happened. Before we left London, a page brought a note from Danvers. She's ill and desires to see me.
About her pension?
No, she has something of the greatest importance to tell me. I can't imagine what. Concerning Abigail Hill.
Your servant, madam.
Mr. Masham, I hear good news about you.
Why, truly, madam? Now, what could that be? Excuse me, madam. His Highness expects me.
Here? Abigail, I wish you well, and your husband, though he seems loath to acknowledge your marriage. A good man, the prince always says, and the son of a baronet, I believe.
The 6th son only.
I've no doubt he'll be advanced.
Your grace is most
But I
kind.
do take it ill of you not to let me know beforehand. I should have liked to see you wed and make you a present. But that I still can do. Now, as to your lodgings, there I can help. But first another thing must be done. The Queen must be told. And as she may be vexed at your secrecy, I shall speak to her myself.
I'm obliged to you, madam. But the Queen knows.
She knows. When were you married?
3 months since.
And who, pray, told the Queen? Did you, without telling me first?
I? No. The bedchamber women knew,
Oh,
and I
if
expect
ever I heard a brazen-faced lie, they wouldn't dare. Well, we shall soon find out the truth.
Abigail,
You will forgive me, I hope, for coming to you when you expected her.
No, she has just left me.
To go to her new husband, I believe. Madam, I have just heard the strangest thing I was ever told. This woman, my cousin, was married 3 months ago. In such secrecy that even I must not be told of it. Now this is the creature I took from poverty, with all her relations, and made a member of my own family. Do you not think I should have been told?
Oh, yes, I do think so.
And so do I. Can you think of any reason for such conduct?
She'd never consent to it, though I've bidden her 100 times to tell.
You bid her? And she refused? What place does she hold that she can refuse anything that you bid her? And why would she not consent?
She was afraid.
Oh, afraid of me.
That you'd be angry at her for marrying in secret.
Not so secret, since it appears that everyone was told of it, except me. But how did you hear of it? Not from a chamber woman, that I'll wager.
I'll not be questioned further.
Did she tell you herself?
I'll not be questioned.
For 25 years you have trusted me with everything, because I was your friend. Your only true friend. You said, dearer than any sister. On every matter, public or private, you have given me your confidence and begged for my advice. Now, suddenly, all this is changed. Well, if I no longer have your trust, I expect to know why. I have a right to know why.
I'll not be questioned.
Then, by God, madam, others will be that. I promise you.
Already the French were moving troops back into France, from the Rhine, from the north, and especially from Spain. And that was the whole purpose of our design. At home, idiots in and out of Parliament demand more reinforcements for Spain, victorious battles in Spain. Capture Spain, they say, because the object of the war is to depose Philip and restore Charles. The fools! Spain is a bottomless sink where whole armies can be lost without a trace. The French won't lose 1 hour's sleep, whatever happens there. But success at Toulon, followed by the attack I planned here in Flanders. I tell you, Louis would have sued for peace within 3 months. Well, the attempt was worth it. But now, we'll achieve nothing this campaign. Thank you, gentlemen. I'll give you your orders in the morning. Stay a moment, Charles.
More from Sarah? A backstairs feud?
I thought as you did at first, a trivial affair. But it goes much deeper. I have since inquired narrowly into the whole mystery. I discovered that my cousin has become an absolute favorite. That the Queen herself was present at her marriage.
Good God.
And gave her a round sum from the privy purse, which she got me to warrant by a lie.
Godolphin must go. He has no support in Parliament or the country. And as for the Queen...
Her Majesty sheds many tears these days, but none for him.
Marlborough will defend him, surely.
Up to a point, maybe, but he'll see reason. I mean, his position in the world, his emoluments, these are very dear to him. And I hasten to add, his country's good.
So what do you desire of me?
To attack us in the House of Lords.
Attack you and Harley?
The government. As we are members of it, we can scarcely attack ourselves.
There's a particular issue on which Parliament feels most strongly. The question of the number of troops sent to Spain and how they were employed there. Now, when this question is raised in the Commons, as it will be, my friend here, the Secretary at War, will be obliged to disclose certain figures.
Figures most damaging to the Lord Treasurer.
And as your Grace is in possession of all the facts...
You mean as I shall be?
Exactly. We would ask you to put the same question, demanding the figures, in the House of Lords.
And raise a storm?
Such a storm as will blow Godolphin from here to hell.
Resign! Resign! Resign!
Her Majesty keeps her council waiting.
In a good cause, my friend. A very good cause.
I find it hard to believe, madam, that you know just what has been done. The authority of your government has been destroyed deliberately and with malice by 2 of its chief ministers. You say there is no evidence of this and that Mr. Harley is as much a victim of misfortune as I am, and that Mr. St. John regrets the trouble he has caused. Well, I am glad to hear it. But I should like to know why, in that case, Mr. Harley puts it about, openly, madam, and with much relish, that he has your entire favour.
I am not obliged to answer you.
No. But while I am the Lord Treasurer, though I think that won't be for much longer, you are bound to listen to what I have to say. Mr. Harley has declared to the entire world that a new government is to be formed and that he is to be the head of it. Men are already boasting of the places that they have been offered. Now, I think not even Harley would have the presumption to do that without your approval.
You shall understand. Once for all, I choose my ministers at my own discretion.
That is not to be argued with. Well, madam, whether you wished it or no, I am answered to my complete satisfaction. My service to you ends here, and I regret only the manner of it. I must tell you, I little thought it would come about through a treacherous colleague and his backstairs intrigue.
Leave my presence.
Not yet.
Am I to be denied even the power to resent insolence?
By no means, where insolence is intended. But my Lord Treasurer meant none. He spoke only the truth, and with respect, madam, you know he did.
Do you attack me now?
I attack only your enemies, here and abroad, as I venture to say you have good reason to believe. Until now, with God's help and your favor to me, none of them has prevailed.
I owe you much, but my Lord Godolphin shall go.
Truly, madam, that is all I desire.
Wait! My friend of 30 years is not to be dismissed like a thieving coachman.
Husband, do you permit this?
Be easy, ma'am, if you can. Let my Lord Duke say what he will.
I thank your highness. Madam, this Mr. Harley must think me a fool. For weeks now, his design has been transparently clear as his method has been devious. So, day by day, he undermines the foundations of the ministry, while himself a member of it, professing loyalty and affection both to the Lord Treasurer and myself. We have 20 letters from him to prove this. Now I tell you, madam, I will not serve in any ministry with such a man. I will not sit at a table with him. So I beg you most humbly to dismiss him from his office and from your privy council.
No. He is a good servant, a good Christian man, and faithful to me. Is it so unreasonable that I ask you to work together in my service?
Dismiss him, or I must resign.
I forbid you to threaten me.
No threat, madam. A clear choice.
I pray you, ma'am, think what effect this will have in Europe.
Oh, I have thought of everything. Mr. Harley shall not be dismissed. He shall not be dismissed. The council waits. Will you go with me?
To my deep sorrow, madam, I cannot.
I know not how you have the heart to use me so. After all these years.
With your Majesty's permission. The members of the council have before them the estimates for the army during this year, and in case there should be no peace before then, the year 1709. Now, we propose to lay these estimates before
Your
the
Majesty
House
will
of
forgive me.
Commons.
How can we deliberate when the Commander-in-Chief and the Lord Treasurer are absent?
These estimates, depending as they do...
If Your
on
Majesty
some
suffers that fellow...
Depending...
If Your Majesty suffers that fellow to speak on matters concerning the army without the advice of the General, I cannot serve you. My resignation if you expect me to serve anymore.
You distress the Queen. No, calm yourself, my love. Calm yourself.
Miles, then a river crossing, and straight into battle.
Is it possible? Where did you cross?
By Oudenarde, 6 miles south of the French, and they suspected nothing. Cadogan's cavalry arrived there first. They laid the bridges for the infantry and crossed themselves, and they reached the enemy outpost just after midday.
Nay, sir, remain where you are, at least for 5 minutes.
Continue. Continue.
Well, sir, the French, seeing only the cavalry, took us for a raiding party. None of them had any idea, certainly not Vendôme, that there was any infantry within 10 miles of them.
Brave tactics. Brave tactics.
Not surprisingly, because as far as they knew, the Duke was 50 miles away. Eugene and the Duke then came up, and the infantry began to cross.
Were you opposed, eh?
No more now. Mr. Cardona will come back later. Now you must have your drops.
Damn my drops. Damn them. I'll have a sleep. And then my dinner. And then I'll hear more of the victory.
Madam, will you go now? You can't stay here. There is so much to be done. Mrs. Morley, please, I beg of you. Come. Mrs.
desire to stay here.
But that you can't do. There is so much to be done. There is so much to be done.
In 1 hour. In the meantime, I would be alone.
But Mrs. Morley...
Alone. In 1 hour, send Mistress Masham to me.
How does the Queen?
She goes with me to St. James's, where no doubt she'll send for you.
No doubt.
Mistress Masham.
Your Grace?
You are to understand that with the Prince's death, Her Majesty will require me constantly in attendance.
Why, yes, Your Grace. I know that the Queen loved you extremely at one time, and I'm sure she'll always be very kind to you.